7.27 for Dota 2 is officially out, and I need somebody to tell me what this is all about. Mask of Death. This is the only instance of this term coming up in all of the patch notes. I looked at the actual game client. Vladimir still requires a morbid mask, but could a Mask of Death be a sign of things to come? Welcome everybody, I am Navetz, representing my esports team, the Sploush Troupe, and this video is brought to you on behalf of Gamers Class. This is going to be first impressions of 7.27. 7.27 is quite a big patch, and I'm not going to go through every detail and read it line by line. What I'm going to do is give you a generalized overview. If you want to see all the specifics, you can go ahead and find the patch notes. You know where they are. But what we're going to do is just break down the general concepts and then talk about some interesting things and maybe get a little bit more into detail with the items, because there are quite a few item changes, and that's what we expected. And then we'll talk about what to expect in 7.27 A, B, C, and so forth. So first off, hero kills are more important than they were before because they give you more base experience, and assist gold has been increased a little bit, and the hero kill gold has also been increased. So more gold when you kill heroes, which is nice, more gold when you get assists, pretty awesome, and they've increased passive gold as well. Oh, they've also increased the amount of gold you get from stacking. You should be stacking. 7.27 also introduced some game-changing map changes, and that would be the biggest one. The biggest one would be the change for the Radiant Ancient camps. They've swapped it. Instead of it being the Ancient camp in the Radiant safe lane jungle, they've moved it to the Radiant off lane jungle and put the hard camp that was over here. They moved it down here, so they just swapped locations of these two camps, and now it's more symmetrical. If you think about the map, the off-lane camp for Radiant has access to the Ancient creeps, whereas the off-lane camp for Dire has access to Ancient creeps as well, so it's a bit more symmetrical. The next big change that they made was changing these camps from medium to small camps. Now, these two little camps right here are the mid lane camps. If you take a look over here, this is the Radiant side mid lane camp, and right over here we've got the Dire side mid lane camp. Now, I don't know exactly what that's going to mean. Maybe it means that that certain heroes are going to be able to get more farm a little bit more easily because these camps are easier to take. Maybe it'll mean that heroes who clear waves and then go to the jungle to farm will do better or worse. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to pan out. We're going to have to see how the patch unfolds and see which heroes end up being better in the meta, but these are some pretty interesting changes. The biggest one obviously being the change to the Ancients, and then also another huge change that came with the Ancient, in addition to the Ancient location being changed, is that they removed the Prowler camp. You know, those Prowlers that would sit there and root you and not let you attack and are really, really hard for agility based physical damage carries to clear. Yeah, they got rid of those, so it's a lot better for agility based carries to clear these camps now. Another massive change that they've implemented is stopping heroes from being able to cut creep waves, and this is really big for the off lane right now. This is going to change a lot, because typically what would happen is if your hero can't lane against a safe laner, or if you have a hero who's really good at cutting waves like Axe or Legion Commander, for example, or Bat Rider, you would just simply not lane against the melee carry as an offlaner. You would skip the waves, you would go to the creep camp, and instead of fighting the enemy hero, you would just creep cut all day. This can't be done anymore until the 5-minute mark, which is really cool. They've kind of changed how that works. They have to be within range of the tier 1 tower. I really like this change. I think it's going to encourage players to lane more, and it's going to give people the ability to actually fall behind, instead of you having like a tough time and then just your position 4 pulling creeps around and everyone just avoiding fighting. It's going to give us more aggression in the actual lanes, and it's going to give the opportunity for certain heroes to zone out other heroes. So if you pick a bad matchup, you might just get zoned out. A quick note about the armor formula: I don't know what it used to be. I didn't look it up. We're just gonna have to wait and see, unless somebody wants to let me know in the comment section about what the actual potential changes to the armor. It could be good or bad. Maybe armor's better, maybe it's worse. We'll find out. But the thing that I'm more interested in is the change to the tier 1, tier 2 towers. Basically, they have the same amount of DPS, but they just attack more frequently. And what this implies is that there's going to be changes to last hitting under towers. And theoretically, it should make it easier to last hit under towers because the towers are going to do less damage in a single hit. They'll do more damage. They'll do more damage, or the exact same amount of damage over time because they attack faster, but the amount of single hit damage they do is less, which means that they'll have less of an opportunity to take the last hit away from you if the creep is under tower. So that's pretty cool. Siege units have also increased in health by 60, and then they've also changed the tower last hit bounties for tier 2, 3, 4 towers. Instead of all the bounties being 180 gold each, now a tier 1 tower is 120, a tier 2 tower is 140, tier 3 tower 160, and a tier 4 tower 180. This means that taking towers is less advantageous if you're the person to get the last hit on the tower. Obviously still very good for map control, just gives you a little bit less gold if you're taking tier 1 and tier 2 towers early. The picking phase has also been changed, and this is super interesting. Instead of going 1-1-1-1, it's now 2-2-1, which means that the first 2 heroes are going to be picked on each team without the other team seeing what those 2 heroes are. And that doesn't change a lot for the first 2 picks. You're not really counter picking the first support with your position 4 support, but still this has really, really big implications on the off lane and the safe lane, because typically your 3rd and 4th pick on your team are going to be, number 3 is usually your off lane pick and number 4 is usually your safe lane pick. What this means is that usually you would pick off lane number 3, giving the enemy team safe laner an opportunity to counter your position 3 pick with their core safe lane pick. Now that's not going to be the case because you pick both at the same time. So you're going to have your position 2 and 3. Who knows, maybe we'll see completely different metas in terms of how you pick. Maybe mid lane will start picking second or picking in the earlier drafts. I don't know, maybe there'll be more flex picks in in all pick, but I don't know, we'll see. This is going to be really interesting. I'm very excited to see how the picking stages go and what the meta kind of emerges from that. Like, you know, trying to gamble a little bit more with your picks might be something that comes up. I'm very interested in that. And the all pick hero ban count increased from 10 to 12, so you do have to increase your hero pool size a little bit if you have a limited hero pool. There's also changes to the captain mode ban counts. This is going to be really interesting for pro gameplay. Instead of the banning phase being 4-1-1, they changed it to 2-3-2. I like this. A lot of pros like this. I want to watch more pro games with the new banning structure, and they've also changed the picking phases in the captain's mode selection. So tons of item changes, but we're going to start with the 2 brand new ones. The Blitz Knucklers. It's a new basic items, costs 1,000 gold and provides 35 attack speed. So this is used by a number of items which have been changed. You can see right here that the Monkey King bar uses the Blitz Knucklers. I'm excited that they've added some new basic items. Let's take a look at the second. The Voodoo Mask, a new basic item granting 12% spell lifesteal, 2.5% against creeps, costs 900 gold. This is so cool. It's about time that we had a cheaper spell lifesteal item, and I'm actually interested if the Voodoo Mask and maybe another type of mask or some of the masks will eventually build the Mask of Death that is mentioned in the Vladimir's offering. Maybe this was an idea that they had, but they changed around. It's still a morbid mask that you need to build the Vladimir's offering, but they mentioned a Mask of Death. Anyways, that's just something that is cool to think about. Now, some big changes to items. These are 2 of the biggest complaints from 7.26, which was the zoo meta. It looks like they've found a way to address that. We're going to take a look at the Necro book and the Helm of the Dominator first. Starting with the Necro book, it no longer provides an archer aura, the movement attack speed of Necro units for the Necro units. It's instead of it providing an aura, it just gives these units the same amount of movement / attack speed bonus, which means that this is less good for for the other summon units that you may have, and also for your heroes and everybody around you. There's not an aura, it's just part of the actual Necrobook units now. Second major change to the Necronomicon is the attack damage type. Instead of being piercing, is hero damage, and that has a net effect of having minus 57% damage versus creeps, minus 10% damage versus buildings, and plus 26% damage versus heroes. Now, why they did this is very obvious. They wanted to stop people from buying a Necrobook as a Midas, and since it does 57% less damage to creeps, you're going to stop seeing your Queen of Pains buying Necrobooks. Most likely you're going to stop seeing Specters buy Necrobooks. You're going to stop seeing every off-lane hero in the world buy a Necrobook, and it's probably going to go back to being Beastmaster and Lycan and more specific heroes that buy the Necrobook, maybe Nature's Prophet. And the additional damage to heroes actually is really cool, because it's going to might actually make Beastmaster and Lycan a little bit stronger, since they want to use the Necrobook to kill heroes most of the time. They have other farming mechanics, you know, so I like it. To me, this is like an indirect buff to the Necrobook, because I played it on Beastmaster and Lycan. However, it does nerf it a lot to those other heroes. And Last Will no longer deal damage through spell immunity. This is the melee creep. If you kill the melee creep while you're spell immune, it's not going to damage you anymore. I'm a little sad to see that, because I love watching people kill themselves when they have BKB and they kill my melee creep. It was just a really fun thing for me. Okay. Next, Helm of the Dominator. Now, this item has changed quite a bit. No longer provides a damage and regen aura. Dominator now also gives the creep a buff that provides plus 40 base damage, plus 12 HP regen, and plus 4 mana regeneration. I'm not positive how this is gonna work out. I think it's I think it's better, but I'm not sure, because the creep still gives 200 gold if you kill it. Now 200 gold is a lot of gold to get for killing a creep. It is a very hard creep to kill, and they've made the creep a lot stronger than it was before, albeit they have reduced the auras. So Helm of the Dominator no longer has it used to have it used to have HP regen aura, it used to have a damage aura, and both of those were really, really good for team fighting if you didn't have a dominated creep, and now it looks like it's just basically revolving around the dominated creep. The other thing that changes with it is that instead of being built out of Broadsword and what was it? The crown, it now has a Helm of Iron Will and a crown and a 725 gold recipe. Now, this is really interesting, because Helm of Iron Will is a lot better for heroes that do want to build the Dominator, and I'm specifically thinking about Beastmaster, because that's like my most played hero at this point, and I would really like to have a Helm of Iron Will in the early laning stages. They did take out the what is it? Where are you, Helm? They took out the headdress that used to be a component of it, so you won't have your HP regeneration is going to come straight from your Helm of Iron Will, and then you're going to have plus 4 attributes. Overall, the cost of the Dominator is now 2,100. I'm pretty happy about it. I want to see how it turns out. Not having any auras might be a little bit bad, but it does still give you 6 HP regen, 6 to all attributes, 6 armor. It's a pretty good basic item, and then if they don't have somebody that can easily kill this dominated creep, it might be really, really good. We'll see. I'm gonna definitely play with this item a lot. Moving on to some of the item changes, we're just gonna kind of start going through the rest of these, I think, at a little bit of a faster speed. So Vladimir's offering now is it doesn't use the buckler anymore to build into. Instead, it builds with a Morbid Mask, Blades of Attack, Ring of Basilius, and a 600 gold recipe. And what it does is it gives more auras, actually. The Lifesteal aura has been reduced from 20 to 15%, but you have a plus 18% base, plus 18% damage aura. I'm not sure if this is just base damage. I'm pretty sure it is. And then it also has an increase of 0.5 to the mana regen, so up from 1.5 to 2, which is very nice. I think this makes Vlad's more attractive than it was in the past. Drums of Endurance now requires a crown, sage's mask, windlace, and a 600 gold recipe. Does not give you a 20 attack speed aura. It gives you instead 6 to all attributes, 1.5 mana regeneration, and 20 bonus movement speed. Attack speed bonus increased from 35 to 45, and the active movement speed increased from 12 to 13%. So I think overall a buff to the Drums of Endurance. We will probably see these get picked up a bit more. Buckler, armor aura reduced from 2.5 to 2. Mechanism changes, just some basic stuff here. Let's take a look. Mechanism now requires buckler instead of chainmail. Total cost remains the same. Provides a +3 armor aura. Self armor reduced from 6 to 4. No longer provides +4 to all stats. So mech changed around a little bit with the buckler. So getting rid of the chainmail, and then the guardian greaves are built out of the mechanism, so it also gets this +3 armor aura. It no longer provides the +5 to stats, and the self armor reduced from 6 to 4, so that kind of just makes sense. So not big changes there. Crimson Guard no longer provides +3 to all stats. Okay, and the cooldown is reduced from 46 to 40, so a little interesting there, nothing massive. Blade Mail, now this one is changed pretty significantly. Lots of Blade Mails were being picked up in the last patch, so we have a completely new Blade Mail build up. It now has a 500 gold recipe instead of using a Robe of the Magi. No longer grants +8 intelligence. Armor bonus increased from 6 to 7, and now has a passive component that returns 20 plus 20% of the attack damage, and the active component damage return damage is reduced from 100% to 80%. So just passively returning damage all the time. Very, very interesting. I'm curious to see how the meta shifts around blade mails. I think this might be reworked a little bit soon. Who knows? We'll see. The next thing is the Blitz Knucklers, as we've talked about. New basic item, 35 attack speed, and the Monkey King bar builds out of them. It requires Blitz Knuckler and instead of the quarterstaff. So the cost probably increases by 100 gold, since Blitz Knucklers are 1,000, quarterstaff is 900. Damage reduced from 52 to 42, which is actually a little interesting there. Obviously, the quarterstaff did add damage, but it gives you a lot more attack speed. From instead of +10, gives you +35, which is pretty nice on the Monkey King bar. I kind of like that a lot, and it's actually going to, I think this is going to be like Lone Druid's going to want to pick up this item on his bear now. It might make it a better choice than going Deso most of the time because of this attack speed increase. I like that a lot. The Oblivion Staff, bonus damage increased from 10 to 15, which is obviously going to affect the Orchid because Orchid's built out of 2 Oblivion Staffs. The mana regen reduced from 5.5 to 4, so a little nerf. Intelligence reduced from 25 to 20, a little nerf. Recipe cost reduced from 775 to 475. Total cost reduced from 3,807, so reduced by 400 total cost. That's a much faster Orchid. Ooh, that's going to be very nice on Nature's Prophet. Mobility based heroes are probably going to be picking up Orchids more often. Like being able to get it 400 gold sooner. 3,475 gold is not that expensive when you consider the fact that it has a silence active. So we'll see. And I don't know if it increased damage with the damage increase to Oblivion Staffs. I assume it did. Moving forward, the Shadow Amulet, cost reduced from 1,400 to 1,000. They do this because they changed up some other items that built out of Shadow Amulet, and it no longer provides 20 attack speed. So this was always a weird thing that came with the Shadow Amulet, in my opinion, the 20 attack speed, but it looks like they've got rid of it and they reduced the cost to adjust for the reduction in attack speed. Glimmer Cape now combines from Shadow Amulet, Cloak, and Gloves of Haste. So the Gloves of Haste make up for the missing attack speed, and it gives you the Glimmer Cape. It kind of makes sense. The Gloves of I think it makes it 50 gold more expensive because the Gloves of Haste are 450, right? It should be. Probably. Shadow Blade now combines from Shadow Amulet, Blitz Knucklers, and Broadsword. So it does increase in cost overall, 1,000, 1,000, and a Broadsword is 1,000 again. Let's take a look at Shadow Blade. What is your total cost now? 3,000 gold for the Shadow Blade, a little bit increased. 25 damage, 35 attack speed. Pretty cool. Okay, so Shadow Blade is I like this change. I like it. They made the item a little bit stronger. Actually, damage reduced a tiny bit, but the item overall is a little bit stronger. And I think the reason they increased the cost is because they made Silver Edge a little bit cooler. And the Silver Edge is stronger because it's now built out of an Echo Saber instead of an Ultimate Orb. So this is, I kind of never really liked the Silver Edge being built out of the Ultimate Orb. I really like it being built out of the Echo Saber. I'm really happy they made this item build into something finally, instead of just making a standalone it was kind of a trash item for a while. The slow on the Echo Saber no longer, now only is applied by real heroes. So your Manta or your Illusions, I'm assuming, can't Echo Saber slow anymore, but this is pretty good. So you're probably going to see Slarks going for Echo Saber, Shadow Blade, and then building into Silver Edge. It's a really nice build up. I like this. I think actually a lot of heroes can benefit from this. And let's take a look at what Silver Edge does now. In total, it provides 40 damage, 45 attack speed, 12 strength, 12 intelligence, 1.5 mana regen, keeps the other benefits of the other components. Man, I think Silver Edge might become like a top tier item. That seems really strong to me. Let's take a look, see what the total cost is. 6,100. Built out of the Echo Saber, which is 2,500, the Shadow Blade, which is 3,000, and oh, it still has the 600 gold recipe. I didn't know that. Okay, I assumed they got rid of the recipe, so that actually makes it a little bit harder to get to. But it does give you Shadow Walk. It does give you the passive Echo Strike. This is a really nice item. That's quite a bit of intelligence and mana regeneration as well. A lot of strength. I don't know. I want to see this. I want to see this played out. This might be a really good item on like CK, definitely Slark. Some strength-based heroes might want to be building Silver Edges now, like Wraith King possibly. Who knows? We'll see how the meta shifts here, but this definitely opens the door for a lot of different build possibilities. Now we have basic changes to our Bracer, Wraithband, and Null's Talisman. The strength, intelligence, agility reduced on all of these from 633 for their primary attribute to 522, so they're all a little bit nerfed in that way. The Bracer no longer gives 4% magic resistance. Instead, it gives +3 damage and plus 0.75 HP regen. This is actually pretty cool. I like this. I never really liked that it gave +4% magic resistance. That was always a little bit weird to me. I do like the HP regen. That seems more in line with what a Bracer should do. The Wraithband strength, we talked about that, now grants 1.5 armor and 5 attack speed. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Wraithband seems to be a little bit strong. All of these seem to be a little bit better than before. Maybe, arguably, maybe not the Bracer, but it looks like the Wraithband's stronger. And the Null Talisman now grants 0.6 mana regen and +3% spell amplification. Cool. Okay, I like that. The spell amp is pretty cool. Other changes. Basic items. Ring of Regen, health regen reduced from 1.75 to 1.5, cost reduced. Makes sense. Sage's Mask, mana regen reduction reduced from 1 to 0.6. I don't love that, but the cost has also been reduced. Does that reduce the total cost of the Necro Book actually? How much is the Necro Book? If these are cheaper, that makes Necro Book cheaper. Yeah, so Necro Book actually just gets a little bit cheaper to buy you. It's only 2,050 gold now. It was a little bit more expensive before when this Sage's Mask costed an extra 50. So it's a 100 gold cheaper. Pretty cool. Ring of Protection cost increased. I wasn't expecting to see an increased cost to the Ring of Protection, but some people were going double Rings of Protection in lane. It was pretty high value, so maybe that was needed. Ring of Basilius, recipe cost increased, total price remains the same. Okay, so they basically adjusted all of these recipes to make up for the reduction in the cost of the base items. Very cool. So that is for the Headdress, the Buckler, the Urn of Shadows, the Pipe of Insight, the Tranquil Boots. What have they done? Unbroken speed reduced from 75 to 70, and the broken speed reduced. So a little bit of a reduction in speed for Tranquil Boots. I'm surprised they did this because this item didn't get picked up that much, and I really like going Tranquil Boots on my position for heroes. So a little sad for me to see, but okay. Kaya no longer provides 12% mana loss reduction. Instead, it gives you 24% mana regen amplification. Cool. I always thought this mana loss reduction was strange because everything else is like an amp. So a mana regen amplification. There was one thing. Let's go back up for a quick second that I think I didn't point out. I'll just talk about it real fast. The Lifesteal Amplification, HP Regen Amplification, Heal Amplification, and Spell Lifesteal Amplifications all now stack diminishingly rather than additively. So that is a point that I should bring up now that we're going to be talking about some of these amplifications because they're coming up in our items. Yasha and Kaya no longer provides 18, so this is basically the same thing. Instead of mana loss reduction, they give you mana regen amplification. Same for the Kaya and Sanj. And the Bloodstone no longer provides mana loss reduction at all. Yasha and Kaya spell amplification increased from 14 to 16%. Kaya and Sanj spell amp increased from 14 to 16%. A little bit more lucrative to buy these, or a little bit more enticing, I would say. Sanj no longer provides spell lifesteal amplification. Same for its upgrades. Okay, the fact that this had spell lifesteal amplification was a little nutty before. So I like this. The Heaven's Halberd no longer has it either, which makes Heaven's Halberd much. It gives Heaven's Halberd and Sanj its much needed nerf, in my opinion. Kaya now provides 24% spell lifesteal amplification. Kaya and Sanj. Wait, didn't I just talk about these? Oh, spell lifesteal amplification now provides a 24%. So this is different. I'm surprised they didn't just include it in here. Anyways, provides 24% mana regen amplification, also provides 24% spell lifesteal amplification, now provides 30% spell lifesteal amplification, 30% spell lifesteal amplification, and the Bloodstone also provides 30% spell lifesteal amplification. And this is going to be super cool on Storm Spirit, guys. Like Storm Spirit, I see Yasha and Kaya being picked up way more often on mid lane players. I am excited to see how strong Storm Spirit might become from this spell lifesteal amplification, especially considering what our new mask does, the Voodoo mask. It gives you 12% spell lifesteal, so building items out of the Voodoo mask might be pretty cool. Soul Booster now provides 10% magic resistance. Interesting. Bloodstone 10% magic resistance. Octarine Core 10% magic resistance. Bloodstone, the cooldown reduced from 250 seconds to 85. That's such a big active cooldown reduction. Okay, so that's pretty massive right there. 250 to 85. This is like we kind of forgot we set it to 250. We should have done something about this sooner, maybe. Voodoo mask, we talked about a couple of times. New base item, cool. Octarine Core now requires Soul Booster, Voodoo mask, and a 900 gold recipe. The total cost reduced from 5,900 to 5,000. No longer provides bonus intelligence. Ooh, this is a much cheaper build up on the Octarine Core. I'm assuming that the Octarine Core still gives you the passive spell lifesteal. 25% of all spell damage dealt to enemies is returned to the caster's health, and it reduces the cooldown time of all spells by 25%. So 5,000 gold for this. This is nice, man. Like, you might be picking this Octarine Core up a lot more frequently if it's going to reduce the cooldown time of all your spells and items by 25%. I'm thinking maybe Dazzle. Like, put an Octarine Core on a Dazzle. That's pretty cool, because the 900 is a lot of gold cost reduced. A lot of gold cost. Yeah, I'll stick with it. Veil of Discord attributes reduced from 9 to 4. The recipe cost reduced significantly, cooldown increased, and spell amplification reduced. So this is a lot cheaper than before. Veil of Discord might be picked up as it might just be. Oops. It might become a necessary item to be picking up on a lot of position 4s because it builds out of a Basilius, a crown, and then a recipe. I mean, this is a Ring of Basilius is a good item. This could be a big position 4 item right now. The Veil of Discord. We'll see how that works out. Holy Locket, I like this change. I actually was thinking, because I've been playing a lot of Dazzle, and I don't like building the Holy Locket. I was thinking, wow, I really wish there was a way for me to act or to cast my Holy Locket on one of the heroes that I'm trying to save, because basically as Dazzle, you're just sitting there trying to keep people alive. So this is pretty cool. I think it is a pretty small cast range. 500 is pretty low. Dazzle does have some cast range amplification talents, and he can buy an Octarine Core, but I wish this was like 800. I think this should be like 800. That would be nice, but it's 500 still cool. Anyways, Soul Ring now requires 2 gauntlets, Ring of Protection, a 350 gold recipe, same total cost. Now provides 6 strength, 2 armor, no longer provides 2.25 HP regeneration. I didn't remember it doing that, but it makes sense that it did. Hyperstone, attack speed bonus increased from 55 to 60. Oh, increased. Cool. Attack speed aura bonuses increased on the assault class from 25 to 30. No longer provides +5 to all stats. Hey, I'll take an increase of 5 attack speed on an aura instead of the 5 to all stats, although I do like the 5 to all stats. Bloodthorn, attack speed increased from 85 to 90. A lot of attack speed increases. Battle Fury now requires Claymore instead of Mithril Hammer. Damage reduced from 60 to 55. Mana regen reduced from 3.75 to 3.25. What is our total cost on our Battle Fury? 4,180. So this item got cheaper because of the changes to the items that you needed to build into it. I anticipate, so Battle Fury got cheaper. So this is going to be like what happened last time with Anti-Mage when the items got cheaper. You guys remember last time they changed Battle Fury, they made it cheap, and they also reduced the cost of something else. I think it was like Yasha to make Manta cheaper. Well, this time they reduced the cost of Battle Fury again, and they've also reduced the cost of the Ultimate Orb by 100. So this means that you're going to get your Battle Fury faster. It means that you're going to get your Manta faster. You're going to hit your timings a lot faster on Anti-Mage. Like Anti-Mage is definitely going to be picked more in this patch due to these changes, for sure. Broadsword, damage reduced from 16 to 15. Okay. Crystallis, damage reduced from 34 to 32. Recipe cost reduced from 700 to 500. So a little bit cheaper on the Crystallis. Does that? And the Crystallis only builds into the Daedalus right now, so Daedalus is also a tiny bit cheaper. But for 1950, 32 damage and a 30% chance to deal 160% damage, I don't know. That seems like a pretty good intermediate item. You might see some more pickups of the Crystallis. That's pretty cool. Cloak cost reduced from 550 to 450. I like it. Hood of Defiance, recipe cost increased to keep the total cost the same. Okay. I guess they couldn't keep it cheap. Satanic now has a 500 gold recipe. I guess that makes sense. Everybody's been buying the Satanic. Meteor Hammer, cooldown reduced from 28 to 24. Stun duration reduced from 2 to 1.75. Recipe now has Perseverance, Crown, and a 250 gold recipe. Now provides 8 to all stats, 6.5 health regen, and 2.5 mana regen. This makes Meteor Hammer a lot more lucrative in my opinion, especially being built out of the person. Like this is a nice build up too, you know, like having a Ring of Health or having a Perseverance like in the early game as your main build up item. This will be nice on like heroes like Trion, like whoever. Nyx Assassin's definitely going to be building his Meteor Hammer. I think I saw BSJ saying something about him thinking Meteor Hammer is going to be good on agility heroes who don't have a lot of good wave clear. I don't know, we'll see about that, but 8 to all stats is really nice, and this cooldown reduction down to 24, 6.5 HP regen. You could see some interesting strategies coming out of the Meteor Hammer. Spirit Vessel, so they just as quickly as they added the health reduction aura, they have removed the health reduction aura. They didn't like it appears. Soul release regen increased from 30 to 40. Soul release DPS increased from 25 to 35. Enemy HP regen reduction increased from 35% to 45, from minus 35% to minus 45%. Okay, so changes to the spirit vessel. You still need to pick it up, but no longer it has the healing reduction aura. Cool. Instead, they gave Shiva's Guard a healing reduction aura, and it's in the area of the freezing aura. So I guess that's pretty cool. The cost increases to 750. Dagon has been changed. It's now built of a belt. It's now built out of Belt of Strength, Band of Elven Skin, and Robe of the Magi, and a 1300 gold recipe. Kind of cool. Now provides plus 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 to all attributes. I don't know if Dagon's going to change much in the hearts of Dota players. Heart of Trask has some pretty big changes here. No longer provides 10 health regen nor health regen amplification. It now passively provides 1% health regeneration. So I'm assuming this this means even out of combat it provides a 1% health regen amplification, and then when you're out of combat that increases by 50%. And all your other health regen amplifications increase by 50%. Strength is reduced from 45 to 40, and the recipe cost has increased from 400 to 650. This is, I don't know how I feel about this overall change. I'm definitely gonna have to see it. I don't know if anyone who was building Heart before won't build it anymore. Maybe the Phantom Lancer basically going, or Phantom Lancer, Naga, some illusion based heroes who would just go Diffusal, Manta, Heart now might not go for Heart, or maybe they'll go for Heart more. I can't tell if it's going to be better or worse. I'm interested to try this. This is cool. Eye of Scotty, a heal reduction increased from 35 to 40%, slow from 45 to 25-50. So a little buff to the Scotty. They felt like it still wasn't good enough. This is a 40% healing reduction, which is pretty big. I like it. Quelling Blade, cost reduced from 150 to 130. Bonus damage reduced a little bit. Range damage increased. This might since it's a 20 gold change, this might change a little bit about opening strategies in terms of what you buy. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe it gives you the opportunity to go for some different openers in terms of starting items. We'll have to see. I haven't played around with it at all, but it might give that opportunity for the extra 20 gold. Who knows? Lincoln Sphere, recipe cost reduced from 120 or 1200 to 900. I like this because this was an expensive recipe before, and this item is sometimes necessary on a hero, but it's just so expensive to get. Like you sometimes really need a Lincoln's against certain heroes, and you're just like, it's just so much money. So reducing it by 300 is nice. Abyssal cast range, I think this is a needed reduction. This item is still super good, and from 600 to 550. Okay. Heaven's Halberd, in addition to no longer having the Sange's health regen amplification, it now has the evasion reduced from 25 to 20%. So this is like an indirect nerf to people who were building Heaven's Halberds, and I'm thinking directly about Wraith King right now. You would just go for your Radiance into your Heaven's Halberd, and the hero was so strong, so much evasion, so much regeneration. Anyways, Dragon Lance, agility increased from 12 to 14, back up. Okay. Hand of Midas, XP multiplier increased from 185% to 210%. Don't give Midas any buffs, man. Just take the item out of the game. Refresher Orb, cooldown reduced from 190 to 180. That's good. I like that. I mean, it's a 15-second cooldown change, but this is such an such a huge item. Hopefully we see it get picked up a little bit more. Ultimate Orb, cost reduced from 2,150 to 2,050. Like I was saying before, this is going to reduce the cost of some big play items like your Scotties, like your Mantas, anything that still gets built out of an Ultimate Orb. I like it. It's gonna you're definitely gonna see anti-mages getting picked up, like farming based anti-mages, man. That's coming. Wait, expect it. Infused raindrops, mana regeneration reduced from 0.9 to 0.8. Not a big change. Projectile speed increased on the nullifier. Agnum Scepter Blessing. I like this reduction in cost for the Agnum Scepter Blessing. Aether Lens cost, recipe cost reduced by 50. Okay, I like that too. And Boots of Travel 2 reduces the cooldown on the TP from 40 seconds to 30 seconds. This actually kind of gives you a little bit more incentive to get Boots of Travel 2. 30-second cooldowns anywhere, that's really low. I like that. I kind of wish they actually had a little bit more, just something in addition to this as an incentive for Boots of Travel 2. I know you can teleport to heroes. I just feel like this is nice. Down to 30. I'll take what I can get. Smoke of Deceit, cost reduced from 85 or from 80 to 50. I like this. Smokes, sometimes I wasn't able, like sometimes when you're not able to afford a smoke, it feels real bad. And you know, this is a pretty big change for poor support players. Sentry wards replenish cooldown reduced from 90 to 85. Yeah, you get in some warding battles and you just run out of sentry wards sometimes, so I like this. Tome of knowledge cost reduced. Nice. This is good for your position 5 and 4 players. Gloves of speed move to a different section in the shop. Now for our neutral items, your consumables can only be picked 1 per tier, which is kind of cool. The mangoes, the pickup range for the mango changed from the default 150 to 300, so I'm guessing this means you can pick up mangoes if they drop in weird places. It kind of makes sense. Has a mini map icon. Iron Talon, active damage reduced from 50 to 40%. Royal Jelly can't drop if there's another consumable. Broom handle, attack range increased from, holy crap, from 35 to 50. That's massive. That's massive. Okay. That makes Broom Handle a lot better. Faded Brooch, movement speed reduced. Yeah, Faded Brooch was really nice. Arcane Ring, armor reduced from 3 to 2. I also liked Arcane Ring quite a bit. I think this is a needed reduction. Vampire Fangs, night vision increased. Cool. Philosopher's Stone, damage reduction reduced. Cool. Essence Ring cooldown increased from 20 to 25 seconds. That doesn't really change much. You only really use Essence Ring like once per fight. It's very rare that you get to use it twice. Clumsy Net cast range has been reduced a little bit from +6 stats to +5. A little nerfs to that. Greater Fairy Fire, damage increased from 35 to 40. Repair Kit has a 60-second cooldown. Health regen increased from 20 to 25. Wow. Spider Legs nerfed a little bit, 10 to 20-second cooldown. Enchanted Quiver, cooldown reduced from 6 to 5 seconds. Fixed a bug for Tempest Double. Orb of Destruction, armor reduction from -5 to -4. Okay, yeah, -5 seems like a lot. Slow from 2010 to 2515. Okay. Mindbreaker cooldown reduced from 20 to 15. That's pretty big. Titan Sliver, base damage increased from 16% to 20%. Status resistance reduced from 16% to 12%. I like that. Status resistance is very strong. This was kind of like the big thing that you got out of here. The base damage is going to be nice, but you know, status resistance was really good. Paladin Sword, base damage increased from 17 to 20. Lifesteal reduced from 17% to 16%. Greater healing amplification reduced from 17% to 14%. Prince's Knife, cooldown reduced. Okay. Flicker has a minimum 200 range of blink. Max range reduced from 450 to 400. Flicker's still so good, plus it's got so much movement speed. Illusionist's Cape, easier to kill the illusion. Havoc Hammer, impact radius has been increased. Impact based damage has also been increased. I like the Havoc Hammer before. I like the buff. Magic Lamp, heal increased from 300 to 400, makes sense. And finally, the Pirate Hat no longer steals gold on kills. Well, if it's a Pirate Hat, it still has to do something gold related, right? Of course. So they gave it an active so it can dig bounty runes with a 100% success rate every 40 seconds. If you get this late in the game, that's quite a bit of gold that you can give your team with the Pirate Hat. Somebody always has to have it on digging up those bounties. That was the review, first impressions of 7.27. Things we can look forward to in the future are going to be hero changes. I like what Valve's doing in terms of saying that they're going to release the item changes first and have more incremental patches instead of just dumping everything at once and then seeing where everything lays. Instead, they're doing items. Next, they're going to do some hero patches, and who knows, we'll see. We'll obviously see some item reworks as we find out what's broken and what's not, what strategies might be way too strong, which strategies might be way too weak. That's going to be things to come. Thank you all very much for tuning in. My name is Navetz, representing my esports team, the Sploush Troupe, and bringing this video to you on behalf of Gamers Class. Until next time, guys, one love.